back on the Lacombe when you pulled one out the other day. I just stopped and get one.
Those are good. I get those from Costco a lot.
They're the best. They're only like $2 at a 7-Eleven.
Really?
What the heck? I was like, a
Yeah,
Starbucks is like
aerated,
$5, man.
weird,
This
right?
shit is good.
Yeah, those are really good. All right. Ready? Yeah, I am ready. I was born ready. Okay. Really, I'm just hyping myself up here. I'm trying to keep the light out of my eyes. All right. Welcome to Cannabis Unearthed. Here we are on episode 5. Always with our audio. I want to say thank you to Zol.
Hey.
Thank you, Zol. Thank
All
you, Zol.
day.
And my name is Megan. And I am Amber, and we are here with Mr. Michael from Spot Farms.
Howdy.
I'm so excited to have you here.
Spot Farms is happy to be here too.
Yes,
Yep,
yes.
yep,
I'm excited. Yeah, so quickly, tell us who you are and...
So I am Michael Shorey. I am the founder and owner of Spot Farms, which is a full-service cannabis cultivation company. We do grows, personalized grows, outdoor grows, and we provide everything from seed to smoke, we say. It is a full service situation where you have, in California, you're allowed to have up to 6 plants per person in your house legally. So we will entertain up to 6 plants per person and do the work for you.
That's awesome.
We are kind of like, the metaphor is like the pool guy, right? You have a guy who maintains your pool. Well, you have a guy who maintains your cannabis plants.
It's like a cannabis landscaper.
It is a cannabis landscaping.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
So we come in and we literally sprout our own sprouts. We bring our own plants. We bring the soil medium. You can be as involved as you want to be. You can be part of the grow, or you can just simply have us maintain it for you. And we guarantee a pound with every plant that we grow for you.
Oh, nice. That is
So it's kind of a holistic approach to wellness and medicine. We eat organic foods, we drink organic liquids, and now we promote growing and consuming organic cannabis and not factory farm cannabis.
Right.
So it kind of is along that same concept. It's a personalized gardening.
Yeah.
We have people who are patients who have chronic illnesses, and they're just not comfortable going into dispensaries and places like that. It's just not their vibe. And they're not against growing it. There's a lot of people out there that have tremendous gardens in Southern California and grow almost everything you can imagine. Why would this be any different?
Yes, I have a lot of house plants and things like that, and I don't really feel like I have the space, or I can't. But if I had someone come in like you and be like, okay, here's what you need to do, I feel like it'd be so much easier. Oh, I'm a hands-on person.
Yeah.
So once you learn the concept, and not only do you come in with the plans, you go further and you take it a step further.
So what we provide is cannabis culture. Right. So it's not just the plant, it's also what to do with it. Not everybody thinks that cannabis is smoking weed, right? There's 1,000 different ways now to consume cannabis that is not any part of smoking. Right? You can create edibles, you can create tinctures, you can create oil infusions, and what we do is we teach you how to grow, and then we take it that next step further and teach you how to consume it or produce it. Right? So, a lot of people don't realize it's not just growing a plant, but there's a curing process, right? And then depending on how you want to cure, will really depend on how the quality, right?
Your end results, and that's where you're focusing, and you have that hands on it. You have a question, I can call you and say, hey, what do I want to do this now? I changed it up or something like that. Now you can kind of customize that.
You can customize the whole situation.
Absolutely.
And it really is a customized situation depending on what the purpose and the point of what each person is growing it for, right? So, the typical is I'm growing smoke for myself, right? So there's a curing process that is meant for smoking cannabis. So it has the right flavors and it has the right mellowness to it. So it's enjoyable, right? Are you going for champagne or are you going for beer, right? Which one do you want, right? There's a difference.
Can I call and say I want a little bit of mixture?
You can. Well, it's
a call in for a rosé.
Well, so the best oils are always made from the best plants, right? So if you're heading for champagne, you can create, like I brought with me here, different kind of infused oils. This one is a body oil that's used for massage, or if your knees hurt or your shoulder pain, that kind of thing. After workout recovery. And it is from the plant that we grew, right? The subscription plant, if you call it. And then we took it and we had a lot of it, and then made a lot of stuff out of it to show that you could make
multiple
anything
products.
you want, right?
Multiple uses. It's not just the inhaled smoke.
No, it's not just inhaled smoke. This is
a non-flavored
sweet almond oil press infused with organic peppermint extract and THC blending.
I want to drink that.
So we
Yeah, I was just about to say, I was like,
you
that just
could.
sounds like a topper.
You could.
Like,
You could throw it down like a shot. It wouldn't do anything, right? So we literally, we made the peppermint
Right on.
press ourselves, and we extracted the THC oil, and then did a hot blend and did the molecular bonding of it so that it
Do
doesn't
they
come
do that
apart.
with you, or do you do that for them?
We do it with you. We have all
bring
the.
everything
We can
to
bring
the
it right to your
house
house
and
and
you
do
can-
it.
So
Yeah.
not just that you're teaching people to grow as well. It's not just that you're growing for them and then teaching them how to make
Right,
their own. So
right.
that eventually there may be a point where they're able to just learn more and do more.
Absolutely.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of things are kept secrets in this industry, as you probably know.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally.
Keep-
So
keep-
that's our
yeah.
point. We're trying to bring that consumer knowledge away from the devil's lettuce, right? It's not a
Right.
There we
secret
go.
anymore, man.
Yeah.
Prohibition is over. It's okay if your grandma wants to smoke weed
course.
or make coconut butter.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay.
Ah, that's what that is right there.
Okay,
Grandma's
so this
cookies
is
are
a
gonna be
pure
extra
coconut
great.
extract
Christmas.
infused with THC and almond oil.
You could use that for so many
You
things.
could make cookies. You could
You
put it
could
in your
do it, you
coffee.
could put it- yeah, yeah.
You
That's
know,
what I
you
used to-
could use it as a butter lotion for your
I was about to say,
skin.
it'd be a ton.
I like
After the
making
shower.
whipped body butter, so
Yep.
something having that, and I mix it with the jojoba oil.
Okay.
Or the all
So-
the shea butters.
This
and
looks
You
so
got so
cool.
let me
This-
tell you about
so,
this.
all right, so this is it is the coconut infused almond one step further with a sugar scrub added to it.
Wow.
So it's literally an
Exfoliation.
exfoliant.
Yeah.
It's an
No, I just
exfoliant.
did mine
She's like,
actually
look at
today.
me go.
This
Mine
is really
wasn't
beautiful
infused,
packaging too.
but
The
yeah.
glass. that
Yeah,
you
no,
have
yeah,
in there.
So
exactly.
yeah, it's all meant
Love
to
it.
be high quality, right? It's not
Right.
like buying a bag of
And to
weed
be
on the
honest with you, you know what
street,
it looks?
what I mean?
It looks like it's from the earth and not from a factory.
Right.
That
Yeah.
is it.
And they make
That
it
looks
Yeah.
like as if Lush, like you've been into Lush, and
Lush
everything
is-
looks
yeah.
super fresh. That looks
Yeah.
like as if Lush made cannabis products.
Yeah.
That is essentially it.
And
It's
that's
all
what we should
organic.
be doing, and making our own stuff and utilizing it. And
So the final one is a tea tree oil cannabis mix,
Ooh.
right? So it has
That
that
sounds really
it
good.
has that real tea tree smell to it, right?
Right, very funny.
I
Good stuff.
wear tea tree a lot of the
Yeah, I love
time
it.
as a natural
It-
deodorant,
yeah.
or I use it when I go out in the woods for
Even
bug
about
deterrents, things
Hey,
like that.
as a male scent.
You should
It's
put
It is a
some
male
in
scent.
that,
I
It's a
think.
good, it's a
I
good
know.
odor too.
I
Good
don't
for
know.
your feet,
Right
here.
right?
It's
You
good
rub
for
it on
all
your
your
feet.
skin.
Yeah.
Scars,
So
everything.
this
And you
is
smell
the
darn good.
If anybody
Scars,
can see
right.
it. I was like, I don't know if anyone can see it. She said, put it on your scar.
You could.
I have a new Sphinx cat, which you guys will see if you follow me on Instagram. I've been posting his photos. And when I brought him home, it was just too much chaos in the room, and he just got off on a 4-hour flight,
forgot.
and he straight up just like sliced my head open, and I glued it back together at home, and I actually ended up with cat scratch fever, which my dad's like,
Which
did
is
you
a
go to the doctor?
legitimate thing.
It's a legitimate thing.
After you told me
And
on the
it's
phone, I had to.
Henderson.
You had to Google
I
it,
had to
right?
Google. I was like,
Wait,
is that a
You
news?
didn't tell me this.
I thought
That's
I
a
did.
real
I didn't tell you
thing,
this. I got cat
No.
scratch fever from this because he
It's
got
whatever
me.
they have underneath their fingernails could be
You know?
different to you.
Right.
And,
You
and
have
the
to,
oils,
like-
even if it doesn't mean uncleanliness.
Like
No, no.
he
So,
was,
yeah,
he was
very
in
honestly-
his little cat home, and then was on a plane for 4 hours here,
Oh
then
my
in my
God.
car, and then I bring him in, and like everybody floods the room.
He's
There's
freaked
this
out.
beautiful, odd-eyed cat in here, and it's new, and he just freaked out. But
You
he
made
could
it
like.
seem like you got like you like survived like
Oh, it
a
felt like
war.
it. It felt like
I'm
war.
looking at you. I'm like,
It's like this
you look
tiny thing.
fantastic.
I put makeup. Today's the first day. It looked a lot better than it did. Thank God. I had someone come in, and he's like, "Did you get in a fight?" He asked me that.
Oh
He
shit!
was
So
off,
really
so
was
bad.
somebody asked you that
Yeah,
question.
somebody asked me.
That's-
It's on your face.
Then a
so I
coworker's
think
like,
it's
"Have you
like
seen
that.
Megan?" And they're like,
Okay,
"No."
so
It's like,
let's
you gotta see
So
it
try
first.
let's
putting
use
the tea
you
tree on
as
there.
As an
as
example.
an example for the
Tea tree
listener.
on it,
What
right.
would,
I know.
what would,
You
what would
could.
we get? Yeah, so we
Try
go
that.
straight to the tea tree.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Tea tree is such a healing thing.
Yeah,
for
no, you
so
can
many
rub that.
Oh,
rub
now
it
I
in
can
your
see it.
forehead.
See it?
Now I can
Also,
see it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, he
Wait.
got
Has
in
a-
there.
Has a
It
little
got-
bit
he got in
Never
there.
mind, he got in there.
So yeah, he got in there, and there's more than that.
Feel
Like
free
he
to
grabbed my
break it
face,
open.
so there was like it's up in my hairline where he grabbed his
You
up
got it.
here,
That's the peppermint.
and then he
Is it
bit.
almond?
It was that was like
That's
a
a
tooth.
bite.
Okay.
I'm pretty
Oh,
sure it was
wow.
a tooth because he was all on
Well,
me.
once you
like-
turned your head, I could see the three-dimensional
Yeah.
of it. I was like, oh,
so it
never
was
mind, he didn't
swollen
get
up,
it.
and then there's one in my eyebrow here that was swollen up, and
Oh,
they were
fuck.
physically painful to the touch.
Well, this would be really good for headaches.
Now I'm really
Anything
curious. I want to
rinse.
see how
Rub it
that
right
looks.
behind your
Rub
ear.
it
Where do we have the
Yeah,
lid to this?
on your temple.
Yeah.
The lid somewhere. That
Now I'm
smells
looking.
really good.
It disappears. It's disappearing
Um,
right in
And
front of
this
us.
is actually good for fevers too. Peppermint.
Yep.
I
Yep.
love.
So the next time I get cat scratch fever, I can put that on and it'll get rid of the because you get the flu.
You do.
Yeah,
you
cat
basically-
scratch
it's
fever.
like a- it's like a
It
48-hour
swells up.
flu.
It turns red. Like you lose your appetite. We tried to go to dinner and I hadn't eaten. I was so excited to go, and we went to Fred's where they let your pets eat off the table.
Oh,
so
okay.
my Sphinx was eating his chicken, and I couldn't eat anything. I was just like nauseous from the food. I had a headache, and I was really tired. And I'm like, oh, I gotta go home. I felt like I got the flu from the cat. So it took like 36 hours to absolve. I cleaned it really well.
So
and
is
took,
this
like,
this is
Tylenol.
what this is what comes off of?
That was from this year's grow. It's
And
one
he
of our.
wants-
You feel free to open it. Open it up.
And then
Oh, wow.
yeah, you
I
can
like
see on
that
the
jar.
top.
You
how
said-
it's,
I love that.
Yeah, isn't it a magnet? Like a magnet. But you brought a special.
Yeah, you
joint
win.
today.
Yeah.
All right, you win.
So-
Winner package.
You had some
right?
special
Right.
joints here, and
So-
that's from this flower?
So
The
part of the
joints?
cannabis education that we
wow.
provide is like we were talking about. It's not always about the Cheech and Chong experience,
Right.
right?
Correct.
Some people are just kind of new to all this, and they kind of want to socially do it and not feel overwhelmed by it. So
Right.
there's a lot of education that you can offer people. One of the things that we're big into are blended
There you go.
joints, right?
Yeah.
So it's a social aspect. Everybody loves to smoke a joint with people, right?
Right.
Pre-COVID, that was like a thing, right?
Yes.
Now everybody smokes their own joint.
I do
What-
one of these. And you're like, oh.
so what
Nah.
we've been doing, what we do for the newcomer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
For the newcomer in the group, this is a 30% dried mint blended with the cannabis that we grew.
Oh, so it doesn't.
So we grew the mint.
It's like a
and we-
menthol.
It's a menthol
It's a
joint.
menthol joint.
It's a menthol joint is
Oh, I
what it
love
is.
It's almost
Fire
like
it
doing.
up.
It's almost like doing a half and half.
Yeah. You
Do
can
you
get
want to
One
light that up
1v1?
for us?
Kind
Yeah,
of,
sure.
kind of.
But it's
or
not-
like how you like a swisher
Wow.
where
There you go. Yeah, yeah.
roll
So it's
a,
not so potent.
So the mint has a very interesting quality. You can smoke mint by itself.
Does it
You
help
can-
with cotton melt too?
It
I
actually
feel
does.
Like, yeah,
It
I
actually
feel like
does. It takes away the dryness and it
Ooh,
takes away
perfect.
the. What it does is it mint works as a vasodilator when you inhale it. It
Right.
opens up your lungs and it opens up your blood flow,
Ooh.
and it allows you to smoke less weed with a bigger effect.
Right.
So you're not
Guys wanna
like
smell this before it's
completely
lit?
blown
It's
out.
like really aromatic.
Yeah.
See?
Like a lot.
Oh,
I was like, I don't want to light it home for a
I
second. I was like, I'll let
know.
them light it because
It
you need
actually-
to smell that first.
It brings me back to like this, like I don't know what it is. Like there's
It's
a
calming.
smell that I.
Yeah,
calming,
mint's
right?
always calming to me.
Well,
Yeah.
I think my kindergarten teacher used like a mint in our our Play-Doh.
I could see that.
Right? You
Sure.
know what I mean? And so
Oh, I
like,
remember. They used
For right
to do.
now, I just
Yeah.
smell that.
They
It
did
just
essential oils
brought
back in the
my-
80s.
I
when we
remember
were
that.
kids.
They used to put
I
it
used
in
essential
Play-Doh.
oils as kids.
Yeah.
That's how I got turned on to
My
that.
kindergarten teacher came back from smoking a cigarette. She's like, "Here, play with the dough, kid.
Right.
I need a break." I'm like, "Oh damn." My
It's not a cigarette, it's
with-
pollution.
It's pollution.
Or
I smell like pollution.
But
Hilarious.
yeah, so I was
Here, you
thinking
leave
if
her a
I had,
Yeah, thank you.
like for me, I'm
Excited.
big on natural wellness. So I have like empty capsules. What kind of oil would I put in like a capsule?
To
So
ingest, for
I
I
ingestion?
mean, these are organic ingestible oil,
Okay,
right?
so
So
all-
sweet almond oil is the base of many kinds of cosmetics and massage oils. You can mix it in with food
Oh
and
my
use it for cooking
Right, is
oil.
that good?
So
Castor
shit.
oil?
castor
I
oil,
think
you
might
could
be a
do
good
that.
one to stomach. Because
Yeah.
I'm thinking because
I
my
gotta
mother-in-law
taste
has
it.
stomach issues, so I'm trying to think of a way for her to
So
take
infusion is a great little tool because you can kind of infuse THC
Yeah.
into lots of different things.
Is there anything we shouldn't bind it like? Does
That's
it not
different.
bind with any specific
I'm
oil?
excited
or
now.
does
As
it
long
kind
as you
of
know,
go
the
with
only one that
everything?
hasn't really
It's a
worked was
smell.
olive oil.
Okay.
It's just
different
too
smell, huh?
thick.
It floats on top.
Yeah, it's too
Okay.
thick. It doesn't layer well.
Okay.
You want to use something thin with a light viscosity,
Okay.
so that when you're heating it, it
Okay.
molecularly bonds together and it doesn't separate when
I
you're
need to
when you're
ask
storing it.
Okay. Yeah,
Right? If
I
you
like
notice,
that.
like when I first brought the peppermint has a very very high.
That went
dense
all the way
oil.
down the throat, by the way.
Right.
Like I have peppermint down here.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Interesting, right?
But you know, when I first lit it, it was
really
the
like that.
aromatic that came off the
Mhm.
tip. I was like, oh my gosh.
Would that help you quit smoking?
Yeah.
You think?
So
Ooh.
that's the
really
medicine.
nice.
That's the medicine
really
right there.
nice right now.
So
I like
it's
it's like
a-
a mint tea.
It is
Yeah,
like a
it tastes like mint tea. It doesn't taste like that.
with a
Like you
little
just
bit of a
throw
mellow
mint in
high,
yourself.
You know
And
what I
that's like
mean?
one of my favorite. It's like a
If you
Smell the
haven't-
tip of it.
If
Smell
you
the tip
found
of
a
it
way
of
to
what's
get her
coming
to
off
quit
of it.
smoking, I'd be so
Shut up!
excited.
You're not
We
supposed
found
to
the
tell-
way.
I feel like a
Just
double mint
found the
twin
way.
right now. Like double mint.
Like a double
Yeah.
mint, right?
So,
That was
yeah,
the thing.
you know,
Nobody knows anything anymore.
I know.
Nobody knows anything anymore.
It's all
mint
new.
them.
It's
I
all
They
like
go
new.
to tell
for
you
double mint
everything.
twins.
You know about the double mint twins,
Oh,
right?
yes,
You know about
of course I
that.
do.
Yeah.
Double
the
It's nice to be able to like-minded people. Sometimes I make jokes
Double
about old
mint
commercials or
knows.
old movies, and people look at me like I'm crazy.
I'm
and
trying to
like,
make a
"Please don't."
record of all the commercials, like a remix of all the commercials
Oh.
that you got to see when you stayed home sick from school.
You know,
That's
Oh, I would
you have
really.
love
insurance?
that.
By Survival.
That's a great
can't
I
take
can't
that
take
right.
that ride.
I like that a lot.
I used to do that actually to
It'd be like,
cars.
dude, chick's
So as a
smoking
purveyor-
hot, man. You come
As a
on.
purveyor, we teach our
I
people.
can't take that ride. Yes.
So as a
that's
purveyor,
so
we
cool.
teach our people that you can make pre-rolls and sell blended pre-rolls, and your product goes 30% further.
I like
You
that.
think of it
I'm
that
usually
way.
really picky with
That
anything
tastes
like
so
that,
good.
and that has a really nice, like that was
I'm
very.
Mellow,
giving
right?
it a cigar. It's like
So
a taste.
good.
I actually envisioned that it was going to be harsher,
I know
more
you
like
were, right.
I was expecting that, like,
Yeah.
you know, I
That's
was waiting
cool.
for that
Super mellow.
Newport glassy
No, yeah.
burn up your
No.
throat.
No,
you know?
yeah.
it's
It
very.
was so smooth.
It's like
Like doesn't.
Right.
nothing.
Fresh.
Nothing.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just the
really nice.
harshness.
Yeah.
Really.
I tried to cough something up.
Yep.
I forced to cough. I didn't.
And I'm not a joint smoker.
Oh, I'm a huge joint smoker.
I'm
As
really
am I.
picky. I don't
So
like
is
the
my
flavor of the papers that they a lot of the times carry.
I
And
feel like my airways are open.
I tried a lot
They
of
do.
paper
They are
brands,
open, yeah.
Place some
but
of
that
oil in
actually,
your,
I would smoke that
Which one?
anytime.
Any
Good.
of them.
All right.
That's
See?
why I have the glass always out.
See,
Is I'm a heavy
would you
glass
like to say
user.
we are spot on?
There you go.
See?
There you go.
That's where Spot Farms came from. You are spot on.
So,
right.
how long have you had Spot Farms? When did you open?
So we officially opened this past month with our launching on Yelp, right? So
Okay.
we are the only cannabis cultivation provider on Yelp. With full Yelp privileges and full Yelp marketing behind us.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
There are no other cannabis companies on Yelp currently that can be fully promoted by Yelp. You can only search for them. So Yelp was like,
So
wow, this
cool.
is such a cool idea.
Heck yeah.
We're going behind you on this
That's
one. And
really
they
cool.
actually supported us in setting it up. And right now we have 3 primary locations that we have been working. We have Spot Farms Malibu, where we have one of our spot farmers in Malibu who does a grow up there,
Straight there.
straight in Malibu.
Oh,
He
Malibu.
manages
Yeah,
probably
it's a
about
nice
15 to about 10 to 15 plants throughout Malibu. And then Huntington Beach is also our territory because that's kind of where it grew out of.
Oh lovely. We have a lot of friends in that area.
Good old HB,
We
make
do.
some noise.
Yeah.
And Costa Mesa Newport, right? So we're in that kind of
That's-
orange niche with a little bit of Malibu flick.
So
You
yeah,
know,
and
so,
you can only
but-
have 6 plants per person.
Legally, everybody in
adult.
California as an adult is allowed to have 6 cannabis plants to themselves. If there are 3 adults living, you can each have 6.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And that's-
And then
and-
if you're a caregiver that owns a state card
Caregiver,
like
you
me.
have even a bigger range.
I was thinking, imagine if we all had put in. You have communities, people that want to grow but can't because they live in apartments, or now they live in condos.
So they
or-
build an apartment garden and everybody pitches in.
No, but you have that medical license to
Oh, yeah.
where everyone can kind of pay the rent, where you can consume.
And I
you can
have
get
I
the
have a
plant for
patient. I can
free.
have multiple patients.
I know that's what I mean. For people who have apartment complexes, I think that's huge. That they want to grow,
Right.
but they can't.
So what we teach is the legal compliance form of cultivation,
Okay.
right? Like you're saying, many people find it intimidating because there's this legal boundary that they're not 100% sure on.
Right.
And let's face it, it has been for the last
It's a teeter
40 years made to be a criminal act.
Wow.
Yes.
So
Every time I
people,
hit it,
it's
it's
cool,
like,
right?
wow.
It's cool. Yeah, it's
And
a
you-
Spot Farm original.
Fucking
And
love
you were
it,
telling
yeah.
us too about how
It's our mint too. We grow the mint.
Yeah.
Your
It's-
first
I
plant
love it.
was on the what river, or was in a river?
So I learned to grow from a bunch of old hippies in upper New Hampshire along the
Upper
Pennsylvania
New
River.
Hampshire.
Yeah,
Right on.
I grew up in New Jersey and went to college in New Hampshire and,
Right on.
and was a full-on deadhead and followed the tour, but was like a preppy kid at
Right
the
on.
same time. So I
Yeah.
kind of, no one really knew, and I was easy to blend in and out of worlds and could cross over and bring things in and out, right?
Yeah,
So the way we got to our first grow was a buddy of mine and we came out to Arizona and met with a bunch of Mexican dudes and bought an entire army duffel
Bad,
bag
bad. So
full of weed.
You did the.
And when we put it
Jing
on,
Jung, you
dude,
just
and then we
grabbed
took the
yourself.
train all the way back,
All the-
and we just sat there on the train and
I
waited.
love it.
Like,
And
yeah,
we were the
man.
kings of New Hampshire.
I
You know,
love
we
it,
had
yeah,
20
no, fuck
pounds,
yeah,
20
man.
pounds.
You guys made the mission.
Yeah,
Fuck
no,
yeah, man.
we were the
work.
kings, and so when we got it back, we broke it down and weighed it in the quarter pounds, and at the bottom of the bag was about a quarter pound of shake and seed, right? So Dave wrapped it up, he gave it to me, he goes, here, as long as you don't sell it, you can do whatever you want with it, right? And we were rolling fucking gorilla fingers,
Dude, yeah,
yeah, just out of control,
Shit
and
that-
flipping quarter pounds and smoking
Yeah.
endlessly. And I took all the seeds in my double Led Zeppelin album and shipped out all the good Tiger
Yeah,
Stripe
found
ones
you.
and got a whole cup full of seeds. And we started an outdoor grow out in the forest of New Hampshire past the
So
clear
awesome.
Isn't
cuts
that cool?
of the lumber yard.
Now, for what time of year in the snow areas such as?
So
there?
what I did was I started my seeds indoors, right?
course,
At
yeah.
this point, I'd grown into knowing how to grow through. Back in the day, they used to have what was called a phototron,
Okay.
and it was an indoor little hydroponic system.
Oh, I know you're
back
talking
in the
about.
day, right?
It looked like a
That
light
needs to happen.
bulb.
It,
flipped
yeah,
upside
it had
down.
light bulbs in it, and a top light, and a soil
That's
medium.
what my brothers would do.
Yeah, it looked like a light bulb, an
Yeah,
upside down light
commercial
bulb.
house, right? You would see.
Yeah.
So I practiced on that,
Grow
learned how to do
tomatoes.
it.
Yeah, right.
And then,
No, totally.
worked myself into a closet,
Those are
and then
dreams.
had a grow closet, and then realized it wasn't enough, and bigger and better. So I started sprouting and making sprouts, and then wrapping them in paper balls. And it's when we got to 200, we backpacked, and I had a 4-wheel drive Jeep, and we
You weren't
drove
fucking
out.
around, man. You did 200.
Fuck
You're like,
it.
fuck
We had
this
all
and
of
that.
them. They were only gonna last so
And
long.
with that time,
Yeah.
you go like,
Plan
fuck,
them all.
you gotta keep in touch with the odometer.
Yeah,
Find out where
yeah.
you're going.
No,
you're
so-
like, oh, so I'm going 15 this way. Now I'm hooking a right.
So
I'm
that
going
is
20
exactly
this
what we did.
way.
We followed a logging road and then took it another turn, and we found, you know, I was saying earlier, Native American people have a great farming history of farming on river beds.
Oh, yeah.
Right, because the water comes down river and then it runs through the land.
Yeah.
And then it's
Keeping
still
that
bent.
topsoil just
Dude,
amazing.
so it was fresh topsoil, full of mulch.
Woo.
And we put
In New
out-
Hampshire, you get a lot of cool different animals that become fertilizer.
So
Unfortunately,
my
but you know what I
first-
mean?
Animals.
My first outdoor grow, the first season I grew outdoors, we put out a bunch of plants and then came back and had 3 left. Because the deer had eaten them all, you know, and we're like, oh fuck, but we got a good yield out of it, right? We're like, okay, so we learned, and
They had a
came-
blast.
Then it came up to the
I know.
200 balls. The
Fucking
200
Rudolph didn't
balls
show up to
was the
Dennis.
move.
Yeah, just to hang those
And
down.
we just kept putting them in the ground, and
Yeah.
came back with the idea, and about, like I said, about 20 of them lived throughout, you know, I mean, New Hampshire has a very long
Yeah, it's
day,
huge,
so
yeah.
it was a great growth cycle for the summer.
That's
And
so
when we came
rad,
back,
yeah.
there were just giant Christmas trees and
It's like, let's
and
running again.
and a
Rudolph
DEA
was
agent
there
out in the
and
woods
sleigh.
waiting, you know,
Yeah.
and we were like,
That's
holy
so
shit,
cool.
you know, and
Plus, like the anticipation had to have been awesome. Like, oh, what was?
Oh, it was like,
Can you imagine
yeah,
you can't do
no.
anything and you have to just travel and find it and
Well,
it's
it
still
was
there,
back in the day. Cannabis
Trying to make it
was
happen.
you were a criminal. You
Oh,
were
yeah.
a straight up criminal.
Yeah.
Like
Especially over
it
there
wasn't
in-
cool.
Probably more so there than here.
And more so in New England, right? There was pockets of
Oh,
hippies,
yeah.
but it wasn't California. You know what I mean? And people were not down with it. And what wound up happening is we were growing on federal clear cut land that was part of a lumber company, and they got wind of it. Now the feds were involved, and there was a little bit of like
And that
everybody had to
happened.
leave, and you
But
know.
did you
so-
get to try it? You got to try it?
Yeah,
You got
no,
to, like, at
we
least
got a
chop
harvest out of
yeah?
it,
Okay.
and then they realized what we were doing because it all coincided with the end of the summer, right? Because
Right.
October comes early in Upper New Hampshire, so it was a short season. You had to go, plant it,
Yeah.
sit on your hands.
My record
Go
label's
back,
out of
you know.
New
Get it
England.
before it
and
gets cold.
Yeah.
I always tell people they go like, here they'll be complaining about, oh, it's so hot in September. I was like, dude, you could be somewhere else in America right now, freezing your ass.
Totally,
Yep.
totally,
I can
yeah.
tell you right
I'm
now.
sitting here all like this and
Right,
chilly,
no.
You can be
and I'm
fucked
thinking,
right
I
now.
know it's so much
It's
colder.
crazy,
Other places
crazy
It's
better.
how
only
quickly-
September, bro.
and how
I used to
quickly
live in
the winter
Colorado,
comes, you
like
know?
I'm 17.
It's like flipping
I
a
did like
pancake.
have
Yeah.
pizza.
It
I'm
is-
like hot, cold, hot, cold.
Yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, Spot Farms got its roots in
New Hampshire,
New
and then
Hampshire
technically-
early on in the
Yeah.
80s.
That's amazing.
That is so
With
awesome.
an outdoor gorilla grow.
I'm
We
gonna
were
be
in the
honest.
gorilla grow.
My favorite story
That is
so
so
far
cool.
from hearing someone coming up and growing. That's
Right?
that's too cool.
Yes,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
he had a pizza, you know, he just had a pizza place.
I
He actually
did.
had his own distillery.
So I know a lot
Also.
about chemistry and brewing. I owned a brewery and I owned a pizzeria.
Right on.
So Spot Farms kind of evolved out of that. When I had the pizzeria, we
What was
were
the name of the pizzeria?
So it's a Stoney's Pizza.
I
don't
have a
talk-
shirt now. I wish I would have worn it.
Would
if
it
I
steal
would've
your
known
face
that.
in
It
it?
says Stony Tony's Pizza, and
Okay.
it's like a stoner shirt. It's
So
like,
there's a lot of Stoney's pizzas out there.
Tony's
Yeah.
Pizza.
I actually stole the
How
name
can
from
I
the place
help
in North
you, you know?
Carolina.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, I should actually wear
Tony's,
it.
Tony's Pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? So that's so cool. So you've had your
His
hands,
eyes are
I
all
mean,
glazed.
Uh-huh.
And yeah.
Yeah, and you've been smoking for a long time.
Long
You've-
time.
And you've done, I mean, you kind of told me a brief story about, I mean, you did sailing, like major competitions back when you were
so
younger.
I was yeah.
To
and-
hedge
and
funds too. I mean, you're like super and
I'm an overachieving type A stoner. You
And
know
I
what I
think
mean?
that's
Like
great.
I like to get
Yeah.
high and do stuff.
me too.
I'm a
I love
doer.
it.
I'm an industrialist.
Okay.
I consider myself.
Environmentalist.
I am a radical environmentalist. I will stop you in your tracks if you try to fuck with the environment.
Good for you.
I
Right
just
there
got
with you,
done
brother.
yelling at a group of
Yeah.
little kids at the butterfly forest up north because they wouldn't shut up. I go, hey, this isn't your house. You know, be quiet, little boy. This
right.
is their
This
house.
is a butterfly
Well, you don't
space,
understand.
right?
They don't sound
But
good
you
at
know,
fucking
it's
them.
impressive to me as I work in the industry and I
The
work
audio
with
engineer, I knew that. one.
I work with a
Oh,
lot of
really?
successful men who are of your age, and most of them are really only in cannabis for the money.
Yes,
I've
that's
worked
true.
for them. I've worked with them. I've seen theft on levels that you've never seen. Thankfully,
Mhm.
never seen that with the people that I'm with now. I work with such a great group that's very
Right.
connected, cares about the community around us. But a lot of people that I've worked with, they don't have the outlook of trying to put the power back in people's hands to make
Mhm.
their own medicine. So that's really
I
amazing
mean,
to
that
see.
is where Spot Farms grew out of. I've had my hand in the dark side of cannabis grows and illegal grows and places like that. And I have an association with people throughout Orange County. And I have seen what you're talking about. It's not about wellness. It's not about helping people. It's about money,
Yeah.
money and
Agreed.
product. And with that, I think, my opinion, And from my experience is I have seen a lot of, factory farming being done for solely the purpose of getting product on shelves.
Yeah.
Where they don't care how they get it there, and
Right.
there's no love behind it. There's
That's what I
just
get scared
Well, it's
of.
also
Yeah.
it can get hazardous, like those
It can be
vape
very
companies
hazardous.
there's people that have passed away now because of
Yeah.
those fake vapes.
Right.
yeah. Well, that's a whole nother thing. The whole vape and extraction business is very polluted with corruption because it's all 90% of the vapes out there are counterfeit.
Yeah.
Even though they have a MedMan stamp on it, they're not.
Yeah.
You
You
know
can
what I
buy
mean?
all
I
of
can
that
make you.
packaging.
I
You
can
can
go
do it
home
all.
right now and I can
Well, I
feed
used
do
you
it at
from
home.
home.
I ran an
Yeah,
extract
smoke
lab,
shop. Yeah, they have-
and
Right.
I have a
did
printer
all
that
the
prints
control
in
room for an
3D,
extract
so if I
lab.
can get a regular
Yeah.
printer to do crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So working
exactly.
in there,
Make
I
money,
saw
you
the
can
products
make
that come
anything.
in. You see the different product from the different sides, and
that's
there's a
scary.
lot of corruption in that industry,
is.
in that part of the industry. I'm very careful with the people that I work with in extraction. I have a select
Speaking of,
group.
I mean,
What
it is
was
liquid
this?
gold.
That
you know what
did
I
you
mean?
take a dab of that over there?
yeah, I feel like I'm flying over here, but
Okay,
I'm
good.
still sitting here, right?
From the
That
mint.
was that was done.
Right?
My extractors
was
are
that mint?
people
Yeah.
that
It's really
have worked
good.
for me personally. That was extracted from our last run of cultivation. We have one that's right now. I have big shell gushers and jelly sorbet that are finishing up,
Yeah.
about to be trimmed, and I can't wait
Well,
to
this
try this.
paired with that,
That
whole
one,
ambiance of the mint
Mhm.
and the whole thing, I took just a very light dab,
And it just kind of
just
finished it off.
just to
Just
enhance
to
it
kick
just
it
a
in.
little bit,
Right.
and I'm like,
Perfect. That is
Yellow.
that's a honey bun jelly sorbet cross that I
you
had
gave me some of the
processed.
nugs for this sorbet,
Yes.
right? Yeah, that was good.
So you had some of the flour as well.
Good.
Even
Um,
juicing, I'm gonna take the leaves and
Oh, you gave me that big
I've
chill?
done
That didn't even
I
last
make,
one
I make
day.
sun tea.
Is it? Oh, is it
You
You
good?
make
Oh,
sun
my
tea
God.
especially out of the shad and the leaves and all
Ah,
that.
See?
there you go.
Make a good sun
Yeah,
tea.
that's what I want to do.
Mixed with agave.
So you
An
teach them
agave
to
sun
basically
tea.
use the entire plant.
The whole plant,
That's
from root to
great.
bud.
Root to bud, yeah. I was
Root
just
to
about
bud,
to
there's a
say.
use for it.
Yep,
You can. You
I
just
agree.
squeeze it all.
I have a machine that
squeeze it all.
I put my trim or my
Mhm.
whatever I'm using
Yeah, it
into,
holds on to
and
it.
and it processes it all for
Oh,
me.
really? I
Um,
thought it would just preserve
I've let
things.
it. You
Yeah,
have
I
it
still
here.
have it,
too.
So what does it do
So-
exactly?
The Levo.
My Levo.
Levo, right?
What does it do? So
So
educate.
I put my trim into the inside. I've actually figured out a way to put more in there. I don't use. They have a little
Right.
device
No, I
to
know
fill
what
it
you
with
mean.
like 7 grams will fit. But I put
So
like about an ounce.
it could be any type of plant matter though.
Any type of plant matter. I could do this with herbs from her garden if I
Okay.
want to. Just
Yeah.
take some plants from her garden
It's
and put
just
it in
one
there.
more step.
It's an infusion.
Right.
So yeah,
Different steps.
it's just what there's. I think it's something. I think basically the same.
There's even a way
you
to
know?
dry the herb.
But I can put it in there, and you can dry your weed if it's not dried yet.
Mm-hmm.
If it is already dried, then you just go straight to
The infusion part.
decarbing it.
Right.
So it'll decarb, and then you add your oil after it's decarbed. So if I
Right.
want to do almond oil or whatever, I pour that into the same
Oh, cool,
container,
right.
and then I
It's
push
like Keurig.
the button. So it's like a
Crazy.
Keurig,
It's the Keurig
and then
of
it'll
weed,
let me
right?
know
So
when
I
it's
use
done
butter.
processing it, and I
Right.
push
I've
the
tried
button,
coconut
and
oil.
it filters out all of the plant matter and keeps
Right.
it in the compartment
Right.
above, and it fills my jar with the
Very
oil
cool.
that I make.
Okay.
Yeah, I did a
So
spicy
So that
honey.
now can
that was
you
really good.
you can ingest that, you could use it on
Yes.
this
So
this
that's
so
what
now
I
it's just full
use to make
scale.
topicals,
Yeah.
because I make my own topicals.
Uh,
That's what I use for basically if I
But-
want to put it in my coffee.
So,
Well, I
so
treated
that's
the beer
kind of
to
what
some
we
of
do,
that.
right?
That's
so
awesome.
that's what Spot Farms
Yours looks
provides.
way. These are next level to what I
If
make.
we grow in your yard, right, and we do a grow for you, and then you are interested in this, right, like doing an infusion or an extract, we come over and bring the equipment to your house and do
Oh,
one
that's
with
awesome.
you, right? Because it's after grow season.
Can
We've
we do
already
that? Can
harvested,
we
right?
do
So
the
there's still
extraction
have
video?
leftover
we could,
plant matter.
right? And we do an extraction, or we'll make teach you how to do it.
I love that.
There's everything from, like you're saying, where products today are literally put it in, push the button, out it comes, to the old school hippie method where you're using a crock pot.
That's how I
Yeah,
started.
yeah,
You
you
know,
gotta
using
say
a
the
crock
crock pot
pot and a
does
bunch
it.
of
I
bags,
just,
you
I
squeeze
had
it,
to know,
you know?
I'm
Right.
the
Yeah,
queen
that's
of
what we
like
had to
new
do.
I still
apps,
miss
new
bubble
devices.
hash.
Yeah,
I
bubble
really-
hash. Yeah,
I
make
still
You know?
miss that. People
But
don't
this
make
is
it.
I make bubble hash.
I love
we
it.
still make bubble hash.
This is amazing for people that don't want to go to the dispensary, or
Right.
to be honest, I know the cost of managing a dispensary. I know the cost of what
So
people
there's
have to
that.
spend for their
Right.
medication. If you have a high tolerance like me, I'm very lucky that I work in the industry that I want to work in.
Me too.
I make most of my own medication.
right. Yeah, me too.
So I'm grateful for that. But there's a lot of people that have other careers
don't have that,
and
yeah.
they don't work in the industry. Anytime Zol needs his medicine, I try to make sure he's got.
I was going.
Or that relationship
What
with
was I
their
saying? I was,
partner,
I was
you have
paying
that.
65, 75 bucks out the door for a date.
For
Right.
an eighth, and I
Right.
was like, no,
$20 a gram.
So I always make sure that he's got what he
We're
needs
talking about
that's more
four-figure,
affordable.
jar.
But like
Yeah.
I'm a type of person that if I don't have my cannabis, I have to add like 6, 7 more medications to my list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I
not
don't wanna
good.
take
That's not
medications
good. Your
anymore.
liver doesn't want you to, and your
Yeah.
kidney doesn't want you to either.
And it helps my. And they're all based around my heart
Right.
and my food allergies, and
that's a lot.
I
Yeah, you have to be
I don't like those
careful.
medicines.
No.
I hate them,
No.
man. Like, I
Yeah.
can't.
And they're not good for you.
They make you all sluggish.
Yeah.
You see me a year ago before we dialed in my meds and the cannabis together. I had to fill this whole entire thing. It's even just by using this stuff has made me lose body weight without even having to
I've
go
watched
out.
him change so much
And,
since
like-
he doesn't have to take all.
We're just
every
saying
single
that.
thing.
I've
It's
had
great.
relationships.
and I was on them since the day I was born up until 5 years ago. You know, I started weaning off these medications.
We have relationships with people that we have grown for that have had HIV and AIDS, where they grow it. A good friend of mine who I grew up with, he has multiple sclerosis,
Okay.
and he is part of our donation process. So when we have extra weed, he's part of it because he's one of our original
That is
grower friends.
that's probably the closest disease to my heart.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
mom has MS and my husband has MS.
Okay,
so
so cannabis is a great pain and medication for MS. It's not a cure because there is no
no,
cure.
but he doesn't have to take
but it's
meds.
a management tool.
Yeah, I
You
use
know,
this
really
to
It's a
manage my
mental
mom's
cure that
pain.
she's got, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today we don't let MS rule our lives.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
Right.
We don't. A lot of people don't actually know that he has it. A lot of our friends don't know. He doesn't talk about it. You see him limping, and some people's like, "Oh, did you hurt yourself, man?" He's just
Right,
like, "Oh, whatever." But he's been using cannabis solely. Like we don't do the meds. There's there's so much magic in this. He'll be like, "Hey, something is really bugging me. Can you rub some topical on it?"
Yep.
Or I'm gonna eat some CBD just to see if if that helps kind of chill things
So
out.
how great would that be to have that complete chain of custody from seed to your medicine, right? Like where it comes from.
This is
what
a
to
service I would
expect.
set up for my mom if
Right.
I was
This is a service that's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, and your passion and your, what you stand behind is gonna be like the best thing, because you truly care. You
I do.
care about
I
people,
do.
and that shows, and that's what we need more people.
And I love
so
to grow
thank
things.
You,
Yeah.
for
Right? Growing things is cool.
I do
Very
love to
much.
grow things. So
Yes, so
Yeah.
do I. And my husband actually was like the one who did the growing.
Mhm.
He the timing, and now he's working and he's gone 7 days a week. So
Mhm.
I'm like, I already have 200 houseplants. I'm homeschooling the kids. I'm working, from home now and taking care of cooking, and I don't have time, but I would love.
Right.
I enjoy it. I want
Right.
the process. I just don't have time to set everything up.
So that's where Spot Farms allows you to kind of jump forward and not have to go through the 20 years of learning.
Right, I was just about to
So-
say, it's not just like a little bit of
It
learning.
isn't.
It's like
like
a lot.
It is.
And you can grow plants and then they can just die and you're
This
like,
is-
oh, what
this is-
happened?
This is like- this
bud rot
surpasses-
kicks in,
I
and you're
started.
like, oh.
I started
I got
with
overexcited
outdoor
and I
before.
overwatered it. Or I
Yeah.
don't know
Before
what I
doing the
did,
full scale cultivation like we do now, I was growing outdoors. And we went through, I'm like, okay, let's
Yeah.
try a wet trim. Let's
I
try
got
a
the
dry
spirit.
trim.
Right.
I went
I
through
did.
finding bud rot and finding out that when the fires happen here, I was
Yeah.
out there
Trial and
with
error.
Yeah.
the whole
trying
way.
to blow it off with the leaf blower,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
getting
yeah.
this stuff off the plant. So there's a lot of trial and error.
So one of the
it would
things
have been
that we
helpful
do
to have somebody that knew better.
outdoor, right.
My family's always, my brothers grew when I was younger, but just up until I moved back out here to California, I think it was 2016, 2017. That was when we started outdoor growing.
Right.
My
Right.
husband and I together, and that was when I started to figure all of this out and decided that's it. That's what I'm going to do for a living. Now I do it on a much different
So
level.
we like
Provides.
to relate it to craft weed.
There you
Right.
go.
So we are
Perfect.
craft weed. We are old school.
I'm having a craft coffee.
Right. Same idea.
Yeah.
You have a specialized coffee that you like.
Yeah.
You drink a certain type of beer from a brewery
love
that you
that.
like. You go to eat in certain places that you like. This is an extension of that, where it is not Philip Morris. It is not Monsanto who is in this game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Monsanto is in this game, and they're coming.
Yeah.
And when they
They're
federally
taking-
I don't think
legalize
Philip
it,
Morris ain't either.
and Philip Morris is
Don't
right
think they
behind
are.
them.
Oh yeah,
Right.
it's all the
So
seeds,
this is
GMO
all factory
seeds, right?
bullshit. Yeah,
Can we-
it's
can
all
we-
factory
yeah.
bullshit that they're gonna feed people.
Well, that's why I get scared about
filled
going to
with
dispensaries,
chemicals
too.
and all the rest of it.
Like our shop, our grow is, we're very small scale. I've had many people that have approached, like, you can go get one of these like $150,000 jobs running one of these other places, and I have no interest in that. I said, this has never been about money for me. It's
Right.
100% about what it's brought to my life. I
Mhm.
love that we have a pesticide-free grow, and like
Yep.
all of us, you
Yep.
can see videos and pictures of every single one of us in there, hands on the plants, taking care of them. Everything is with love. Every block is checked.
Every
Yep.
time you're
You know?
out there, they seem like they like your playlist.
Yeah, they all like my playlist. We play a lot of good music in there.
So
I enjoy
that
it.
is what we teach, right?
No, I
that
love
is
this.
that is part of the Spot Farm philosophy of we do grow all organic outdoors. We don't use any pesticides. I like a nice Dr. Bronner peppermint mix
Oh, okay.
for a
pests.
spray.
Yeah.
And then
I
what
love
I
that.
what I really love to do is we use a very sheer cloth and drape over our plants, and then let out like 2,000 to 3,000 ladybugs, and then wet
Oh,
wet
I
the
did that in my
stems with a
backyard.
little bit of
Yes,
sugar.
I've done ladybugs.
Wet the stems and get them to stay, and they will. If they stay, they'll stay. You got to use
So
the
that
cloth
also
to not
helps
have them
from any
fly
like
away.
that helps with
Okay.
any unpredictable weather as
Yep.
well. And
Yep.
see, I wouldn't have thought of that. I
Yep.
was
They do more than just mites.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're
Yeah.
awesome. They're the
They-
little,
they
they're
act-
little
they
security
generate-
guards.
That would
it
have
They're
makes
helped
like
a
little
lot.
security guards
I
working
would
It
love
everywhere.
makes a
and
whole
put 'em in my back
ecosystem
room.
as
They
well.
create, and then their castings become part of the,
Makes
of
an
the
entire
soil.
ecosystem.
We use
Um,
banana peel.
So I have a
right?
banana tree
Yeah.
on my property, and what I do,
Nice.
the winter bananas tend to not grow as big as summer bananas. They don't ripen the same. So
You still get those big water leaves though.
So I take the banana stalks and I put them in a 5-gallon bucket and mash them, and then fill
Oh, right.
that with water, and
Oh,
then
wow.
leave it to sit
Yeah.
for about a week,
Yeah.
and then stir it up and pour that as my nutrient base on my soil for this coming grow.
Oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
So you're
you,
adding-
so you just have a plot ready.
I'm
Science.
plot ready.
And he has a
We're
koi,
right.
the koi
And I-
pond too.
I love that.
So then
yeah,
we
he
also, when I remodeled my house,
I'd use your head, man. That's so
we
dope.
put the
Smart,
HVAC
right?
system, right, the air conditioning unit up in the peak of the house. So it's really hot up there, and people don't realize your HVAC system weeps about 5 to 10 gallons of fresh water a day when it's hot out.
Oh yeah.
So
Yep.
I have a drip line that comes out the side of my house, and it
Rerun that.
barrels it up, and I take that distilled water and I infuse it into my koi pond, and then draw the water out of the koi pond and barrel it up, and then use that as my nutrient water on my grows.
Oh
Way
wow.
to respect.
Yeah.
That's so.
That's
I always
so
tell
creative.
people,
Yeah.
water
Did you-
is so important.
Have you done that
It's
for a long?
life.
Did you come up with that? Or
Yeah,
is that
no, well,
something-
guppy farming. Guppy farming is a thing.
Okay.
You can create grows. It's kind of a cross
Oh,
between
my
hydroponics and soil grows called guppy farming.
Well, the way the
Interesting.
Yeah.
greenhouse, the living off the earth, off the
So cool,
grid,
man.
is
Mhm.
it's so. I mean, the concept is there. I mean,
Yeah.
we have everything.
It is
It's
all
like
right.
a-
There's nothing
outside.
cooler than growing something from sunlight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the sun is its energy, and it grows into this magnificent plant
Exactly.
from this tiny little seed.
What about for someone who doesn't have room, like an apartment complex or something?
So
Would you
that's where
suggest-
trimming and curing and training techniques come in, right?
Okay.
So plants don't have to necessarily get tall to produce a lot. They can also be bent downward like a bonsai,
I was gonna say those.
and
are
then
amazing
create a
as
bush.
bonsai trees.
You know,
Yeah.
grow in a bush environment.
And that's $100 a
Topping.
month for one. You'd only want one or two, maybe. Cause
Most people go with 2 at the most.
Because you're guaranteeing a
A
pound.
pound. A pound
from
is a
these
lot of
plants.
weed for most people.
Yeah. And
You
it
know?
sounds like, yeah, but you're waiting, right? You're going to wait that 10 months. So you have
Yeah.
to make sure you have
Yeah.
that alternate, and that scheduling, which is it's so smart.
So when we harvest, and which is typically October or September-ish, right?
Right.
Then we go into the curing process for the outdoor. We do a trim. We do a dry trim or a wet trim, and then we dry.
I always look for
And then we do a dry trim after, and then go into mason jars and go through a burping process for the next 60 days. Right, so we're releasing the gases that
Right.
are diminishing from the chlorophyll, and they're building up in there. We burp them out and then put fresh air back in to create and capture the smell of the oil and the tincture inside the plant, and that's what we're really preserving,
Okay,
right? So the
right.
slow cure for the good smoke,
Gotcha.
right? So
Yeah.
if you do it
It's
right,
like beef jerky. You want
Kinda
it
like
slow,
jerky.
slow.
Kinda like making
Yeah,
jerky,
yeah,
right.
You want it to
so if you do it right,
process.
you can put out a bunch
Mine
of
are always
you
carrying
can-
in these jars.
Or yeah,
I'm like-
right. A little mason jar is a perfect way to store your
Right.
weed for longer periods of time.
Yeah, I don't like those cork top motherfuckers.
And you can keep weed in a jar. I mean, if you maintain the temperature and put it in some place that's not crazy hot or dry, it'll
Right.
last a year.
Absolutely.
You know.
like
And then
a
if your weed gets
storage,
too
just
dry,
in
you
case
throw
of
a couple of
emergency.
pieces of orange peel in there and you
Yeah.
fluff it back up.
Rehydrate
And,
it.
yeah.
Or some bread, right?
Yeah.
Some bread or
A little
something
piece of
too.
bread,
Yeah.
awesome. Tortillas work the best.
Yeah.
You know,
I have my
you-
little pack that I
Yeah,
keep.
or
in
the
these.
hydro packs.
Well, I
now.
have a bunch of small ones, and they're in plastic, so I'll
Right,
just change them
right.
out. This one's just, it's like perfect. It's
So
I know,
yeah,
it's like now
that's
it's like-
kind of why
that's such a
we
motto,
do what we do,
if you wanna
right?
smell
So we're bringing all of this knowledge, and we're bringing all of this past history
That's
to
what it's
people
about.
who have always kind of seen it from a different angle, and now they're willing to put their toe in, and it's socially acceptable. It's not so bad if mom gets caught smoking a joint in the yard.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
You wanna know
it's
what's crazy?
Yeah,
Your mom's been smoking weed the whole time.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
no doubt, no doubt.
Uh-huh.
Now she's trying to hide.
Now she's not hiding it. Right, right,
Now I'm like,
Your
fuck
principal's
it, you know?
high.
right.
You're fucking the guy that just gave you
I
a
know.
drive-in test.
Yep,
That dude's
yep.
higher than you are.
Yep.
You know, they talk about how intoxications come with different consequences, right?
Right.
It's interesting. Even though I've always kind of been in two worlds, I have a lot of friends who are in law enforcement,
Right.
and you know, I've had conversations with the chief of police of Huntington Beach, and he says without a doubt, 90% of domestic violence calls have alcohol involved.
Absolutely.
100%.
He goes,
believe
you
that.
do not see people smoking pot
I
and
thought
have
it
domestic
was-
Each other
violence.
up.
Beat
Yeah,
each other
yeah,
up.
no,
It
no,
doesn't
for
happen.
sure. Yeah, no.
I got arrested for
Um,
assault on an officer when I was wasted out of my mind.
Yeah,
You know?
on
It
alcohol.
becomes a
Absolutely.
conduit for all kinds of bad. So I'm
It really made me
a
realize
Yeah.
that.
6.5 years sober next week.
Okay.
I got my half year. Thank you.
For real, that's so
But
good.
yeah,
you know?
I wasn't a
California
violent
sober.
person. I wasn't
Right.
a violent person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Cali sober.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Which
wasn't
is-
on
which is
drugs
the
or
medicine that we
anything.
talk about, okay?
Cali
Oh,
sober
no,
is
it saved
such
my
a
life.
great-
Yes, it did.
I
I
leaned
think it's
into
such a
it.
great
Yeah, it did.
concept.
It did save your life.
It saved
makes
my
sense.
life. I leaned
No, I
into
agree
it.
with you, and I don't say that like to diminish it at all. I truly believe that cannabis is a both a physical and a psychological relief to
Yeah.
many different psychological issues. Okay. I have a bit of PTSD that I go through, right, and it's all self-inflicted shit. But nonetheless, you know,
yeah,
I'm still
so
living
you're
with
still
it,
having
you know
to
what
deal
I
with
mean?
it.
We all have
Yeah.
trauma.
Yeah,
Like,
you
we're
know,
from the 70s and
Right,
80s
you know,
and 90s.
it
I
was,
mean, that's
you know,
just,
and
know?
this helps me maintain myself
Yes,
at times,
yes.
you know.
I agree.
And if I was somebody who was, you know, laying on the couch not doing anything, I would say, okay, well, maybe you're smoking too much weed, right?
Right.
But I'm not.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not that guy. I'm
People are like, how do you have so
In
much
the
energy?
6 years
I'm
that
like,
I've done
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
just for that
If you've
sole
ever walked
purpose,
in her
never happened.
workouts at all in the morning, she's got
I love to
her
work
bong
out,
and
yeah.
I have a great
Going
time.
nuts.
But
She
that's
has
what
so
it's
much
about.
fun.
Yeah,
Changing
yeah.
that, and then you're looking at it from a side, not only a constantly moving, but you're constantly evolving. You're looking at it from the roof of your house, thinking about the water. Who does that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Respect. Big ups to you too for just respecting water.
For real.
It's
Oh,
life.
yeah,
It
yeah.
literally is the
We
essence
are
of
in the
life.
middle.
No,
I tell
right,
my
no
children-
water, no
Whenever I
life,
hand somebody
right,
water,
yeah.
they go like, "Dude, thank you." I was like, "You should be thanking me.
Yeah.
I just handed you life."
And here
should
in
be
California-
worried about
I think the most
you know?
baffling thing I've ever heard is I've had people. I was handing water out to the just people down in downtown LA.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I don't do Thanksgiving, so I just passing out stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
I had multiple people that said, "Oh, I don't do water. I don't do water, or I don't like water." And it was
Yeah,
good
so-
bottled water. I
Yeah.
was expecting I'm like, take
You
2 or
need it.
3, take them. We brought a ton of water. I didn't bring that much soda. I brought like a few packs of soda
Right, right.
because I thought maybe the kids, might want like a soda as a treat or something. Everybody wanted the sodas. Nobody wanted water.
Well, because when you're coming down off heroin, there's nothing better than a
Sugar.
good
That's
sugary
so good.
soda
Yeah.
to keep you kind of level.
but I was like, when
Water
I've
sucks.
had a
Yeah.
few people that have turned me down when
Yeah.
I've been like,
Water actually makes you
you know,
get in
no
and out
thanks.
and
You
you
get down
chug
quicker.
more.
Right.
No, what's worse
no
is you
thanks,
offer-
I don't do water. I
I've
was like,
offered groceries
do
and they're like,
that?
no, but I'll
What?
take your money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how about a high five? See you later. I'm
Um,
gonna take my bananas and my fruit. because
Yeah,
what do
water
you
is
want?
great.
Like,
Water-
I'm not gonna hand my money. I'm
Water
trying to give you
is
stuff.
the best thing you could give another human being, other
Absolutely.
than your time.
Absolutely.
Time and water.
when
Time,
people
yeah.
show up at my
Your
work, I had someone that would
presence,
show up
not
and bring me an
your presence,
Essentia
right?
bottle of water, and that's my favorite. I was like, thank you.
Yeah,
Like, thank
yeah,
you so
yeah,
much.
no.
That's
I
actually
love
coming into my
Essentia,
head. I wonder
for
how much
sure.
Essentia
It's
is
life,
expensive.
man.
It's expensive.
It's like a $269
I know,
or something
looked at
like
it
that.
My watch was not a
How much
calculator.
is it?
How much is my book?
So
No, it's
water
like- it's-
water is a
yeah.
crucial element, right?
Yeah.
It is absolutely necessary to growing. right?
Yes.
And the understanding of water has a lot to do with how things are grown as well. pH and the range of pH has a direct effect on how plants produce either female or male,
Right.
how they fruit versus how they flower, and the types of flower come out differently based on the pH that you're introducing through the water. The koi water that we use is a good high pH nutrient rich water because
Right.
obviously the fish are
I was about to
sucking
say,
it up and
They're
putting
loving
out.
it.
I
Yeah,
want
loving
to
it.
compare
But it's the same
your
humans, we
guys'
want alkaline
pH
Yeah.
to what our
water.
normal pH is.
Right.
Because that is crucial.
It is
That
crucial.
at the end of every time
no,
that
yeah.
one of the guys is in there checking and working on things, we
Mhm.
get a list of photos and it's of our pH meter showing exactly where everything
Yep.
is at.
If anything needs to be fine
See, I
and
have all
made
these
sure
tools,
of,
Yep.
too.
It's
gonna
that.
be that.
It is the water.
You know,
Yeah, it
there's
is the
been
water.
times where they've made a barrel. This was like early days of us still learning, but we
Getting
made a
up there in the
barrel,
sevens.
and I looked at it and I'm like, that's not right. There's something off about that, and it was I put in too much of something or someone else. So I was like, we gotta adjust, and I would dump the whole barrel because
Yep.
even just adding. If I try to add more water to the barrel
Nope,
and take
doesn't
it, it
work.
screws the whole pH
Right.
up. So I can't just
Maybe
take
just-
some out and add some water in. That's a band-aid.
Right. Doesn't work.
And it will not be as
Yeah.
accurate
You're just
as
trying
I
to
need it to be.
balance it out
So-
to the
Well, and it's inaccurate and it can
And it's
risk
not fun.
Yeah,
all
it
the
risks,
work
it
that you've
risks
done,
all
right?
the work,
all
and
the
I've seen what
pH
happens.
product you purchased too.
Right.
Yeah.
Could go down the drain.
Right.
So it really,
you
you
don't want
really have
anything
to be
go
very
down the drain.
careful when you're doing stuff like that because the tiniest change in pH, it'll affect everything.
Yep.
So
Yep. And that's what bums people out is they put weeks and months into their plan and all of a sudden they're like,
Where'd it
Yeah.
go?
Yeah.
You're
I
like,
had one that went.
"Bro."
I had an out.
You
one
got
that
too
went outdoor,
cavalier with
probably
it.
the
Yeah.
most beautiful plant I'd
Check
ever
your human
grown.
pH too.
We
you
went
know,
from
they have
outdoor
the
to a
testing strips.
small
You should be testing
2
your
by
pH,
2
by the way.
indoor.
I have some in my bathroom if anybody's curious. Go ahead.
So the one that we started growing indoors was our first indoor after growing just nothing but monsters
Uh-huh.
outside. Probably the most beautiful plant I've ever grown. It was
Sure.
the Northern Lights plant. It
Oh,
was
my favorite,
gorgeous.
My favorite
And
strain.
it got
I
to
wanna
just
see
like the
that.
And they
perfect
go
size.
tall,
I have
huh?
photos
Yeah.
of it, and it turns male.
Yep.
And I was so
Like
down.
how in?
Huh?
How long in?
We were past the teens. It was.
Oh wow,
It was
so it
good.
Right.
turned.
Yeah, it turned.
Turned.
I've never, and it was such a gorgeous. It was such a nice.
It's that
Well,
hey.
hopefully you get it right
So-
Here, honey.
Yeah.
So what's interesting about that, okay, now that today
Manifest off
is
it.
still in the okay range. Okay, you can still use male plants today
Yeah.
for different purposes other than smoking.
And I, at
Right,
that time,
so-
wish I would have continued on and
Right.
just done the process with it. But I didn't. I was like, okay, that's
Right.
it, and
Right.
toss it and throw it. It was still such a beautiful plant.
So male
I'll have
plants
to
are
show you
typically
photos of
more
that.
They need
CBD
seeds.
based.
Right, I was gonna
Right,
say,
so
what
if you're
can we
looking
do
for
with
that
the male?
CBD oils, you can do male plant extractions.
Men have to be good for something.
They are. Not much,
I mean,
but
just like
male
I'm
plants
kidding.
literally have
I'm
little
kidding.
balls. If you've never seen them, they have balls, and you're like,
They do.
damn,
It
they have,
goes- it
they have
goes
little
with-
balls that
it's
grow.
built
Yeah.
just
And
like
you're
us.
like,
I
that
And then
fucking
it's
thing
got-
right
it's
there.
got
I got
this
real
little
close,
weird
and I was
little
like,
guy.
fuck!
Yep.
Those
Gotta be
were the
exactly
balls I
like
didn't want
that.
to
Yep,
see.
they have
I didn't want to
balls.
see
It's
balls.
just how it is.
And then if
you
you
know?
ever follow it through, they eventually open those balls
Yes.
and
Sprout again.
Sprout
Well,
their seeds, right?
their
Or
seeds
there's
come out,
pollen and
the
then
pollen and it
pollinate
gets all
everything,
sticky,
and
and you'll
it's
ruin
disgusting.
people's grows for 3 miles.
That's why you don't want anyone
Right,
near
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's why we wouldn't want anywhere near
Yeah,
our,
yeah.
our women.
Would you like to try a bowl of the
You know,
gelato?
Yeah.
speaking of that, the California State Fair, did you hear? Like,
Yes.
they're having
Yes.
a whole, what is it called?
Cannabis
Expo?
Expo.
Right.
Yeah, next year the Cannabis Expo
No
was
way.
Yes,
so amazing
yes.
that they had such a great turnout that they're having
I
another
always get
expo.
booked
yeah.
for the Seattle Hemp Fest, the biggest one in America.
Okay.
I always get booked for that one. I guess it goes back as far as the original proposition
Would you
was
like
what,
to
try
96?
the
Right.
96. So it goes as far back as that.
How fun.
July 14th
July
through
14th.
the
So that's good to
30th
see that
and
that's
20th
spreading
at
down
the
here.
Cal
Yeah.
Expo in
Well, it should be
Sacramento.
at the state fair. It should
Well,
be
exactly.
right next to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
tomatoes
yeah.
and the
We
corn.
can plan a day.
and
I
now.
mean,
the
hey,
swamp.
now
Have
that
a
California's
place
on
for
point,
That's
you
what
go
I'm
right up
saying.
here
Right.
to our farmers market, which is on Main Street right here, and there's a lady that sells soaps and it kind of stuff,
Right,
something,
right.
nothing to smoke and nothing to eat, just little things. But they got him.
Yeah.
I I'm infused.
So you know what's really
socially
interesting is one of the things that people haven't really thought about is, you know, all the land that is really useless land in California, vertical lands and stuff like that, are now useful. Okay, you could easily terrace farm in Malibu on places where you could never build, right? You only need a little square and sunlight.
Jeez.
So
That's
you can pick up cheap land everywhere, and they're Insta farms.
Let's do it.
Right, Insta farms.
I'm
mean,
just
I'm
Spot on, you know.
It's giving
Like,
people
by the way,
This is the
control,
spot. Yeah.
teaching them how to do it the right way. Because I know a lot of people that have told me when I'm like, you know, why don't you grow? They're like, oh, I don't know how to do that, or oh, I tried to do that and it died.
right.
Having
I'm not
someone
good
that
with plants.
kind of shows
That's
you
the
how,
number one.
Right.
I'm
terrible
not
at
good with plants.
No, I can blame it on you. I'd be like, he killed it, not me. You know, and I
Have you
won't
ever
feel
seen
so
the movie
bad.
28 Days with Sandra Bullock?
Yes.
Right, she has to make the plant live.
Yes.
Right, until the
I
plant
love it.
lives, you can't have a puppy, you can't have a relationship, right? So
For real?
yeah, watch
not
the
seen
movie
that movie?
28 Days. It's hilarious.
Don't watch 28
I
Days
thought it was
Later,
like a.
just
That's
28
not.
Days.
Yeah.
Not
I
not
thought
the
it was
other.
a zombie movie or something.
No.
28 Days
28 Days with
Later.
Sandra Bullock.
So bad with.
Yeah, no, it's funny.
Yeah.
She's in recovery, right?
She's in
Yeah.
recovery, and her challenge
It's
is to make
so
her
funny.
plant live. If she
Oh,
can
I
give
can do
enough
that.
love and care to the
Okay, I
plant,
like that.
she
She
can then
can't
move
have a good
on, right? Because she's
relationship.
selfish.
Oh,
right?
okay, yeah,
You
she's
know?
one of them.
Right.
Okay.
So cannabis takes a lot of love and care. is
Yeah,
the point.
absolutely.
You have to really be vested into your girls.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to love them
I
and be
see.
tender with them and
Yes.
treat them with respect.
Love that. I say
you
the same
have
thing about
to-
chefs, right? You don't want to come in your food
Right.
coming from an angry chef.
Right.
It's gonna taste like
Right.
crap.
Right.
You know, you want
Right.
your stuff to come from love.
Right.
And plants,
Which,
I think it helps on many levels. Just having the plants around the house, in the home.
Absolutely.
It boosts, your mood. When I go to, when I'm having a bad week, I will call up and be like, do we need any pruning done today?
No, I
and
get
I'll
that.
head over
I'm
just
gonna put my AirPods on.
No, I
please
get
let
that.
me put my
I get
AirPods,
that.
and I do, as I put my AirPods on and I hear all the music I need to hear, and I
Yeah.
sit with them and I make them pretty again. That is so soothing to my soul.
I
It's
agree. I agree.
The
I
best
find a
form of
calmness with
therapy.
it too.
I was there. That was probably the year I was not. I love what I do. Love what I do. Love you guys. But honestly, when I was just doing cultivation, it was like a solid, like 6 or 7 months where it was.
Right.
That was my number one focus. Where that was it, and there was no other stuff. That was so peaceful for me.
Yeah,
I
totally,
went there
totally.
early in the morning, and I did my stuff, and I heard my music. I'm filling the barrel, and I'm mixing and doing the nutrients. Everything was great. Making sure the plants were taken care of,
Yep.
pruning.
Yep.
It was just like the best start to every single day was doing that.
No, I can feel them. I can feel the vibes that come off them.
It's
I
amazing.
can feel when
We
they're
talked
sad.
about that on
they-
another
they're-
episode.
They're
It's-
droopy and
Have
then
you
perk
tried
up. And
attaching crystals to your plant?
so I have a gnome.
Okay.
I
Okay.
bring a gnome with
She
me
likes-
on
I collect
grows.
gnomes.
Okay, so
I was about to say,
I use the gnome
right.
grow.
I
I love the gnome
Can we
grow.
do a
My whole
science
bathroom.
experiment with some crystals though? Just if I give you some
We
crystals,
could,
like
sure.
even if it's here, maybe I'll have you come here and we can do like
Yeah.
amethyst in one and like quartz, you know what I mean? Just in the soil
Mhm.
and like I want to know because I know
Mhm.
you're scientific and I can make that like a homeschool project with my kids.
Okay.
Doesn't make a difference.
Well, when
You
you
know?
guys move to like the Brea area, we can always have one here and try it.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
When you guys start to branch out and
Yep.
get over here.
Get it.
So
branch
if you
out.
want to branch out, how we branch
like
out is you find us on Yelp,
Okay.
right?
That's
so,
the coolest
And we'll
thing,
make
by
sure
the
we
way.
have
So,
that.
like I
Yelp.
said, we're back
Yes.
to
So
Yelp.
back to
We
We
Yelp.
are
are
on
the
Yelp and we search.
we search Spot Farms
Farms,
HB,
okay.
and
That's
we will
for
come
you.
up Yelp, and you just ask for a consultation, and we'll come to you, and we'll kind of assess where would be the best place at your house to do it. What are your
Awesome.
needs?
And you
what are you
offer
trying
levels,
to do?
right?
Definitely.
So like if I just want you to come and start it and then like tell me what to do and I'll
Mhm.
take care of it, that's an option.
Yep.
Or you'll come out like I could every day, or you can
So
have a middle ground.
I grew this last season with a buddy of mine who is immunity compromised and he has AIDS, right? So we did it all through Zoom.
Oh, okay.
I brought him a plant, got him one going, brought it to his house, left it on his porch, he brought it in, and then from that point on, we just conference called and he would
And
hold
you've
up his
never
phone.
actually been inside. You've just been.
No, well,
doing this.
not recent. I've known him for a while, but once he got sick, and then with COVID and all that, he just
Gotta
was
keep a
like, dude,
distance.
you
An
gotta
actual
stay-
person that needs
Right.
social distance.
So
Which is
we
great.
and this is part of his medicine.
You've made this available to someone that doesn't even
Yeah,
have people inside of their home.
right.
So, you know, and that's, some people would be like, oh, this sounds
That's a
great, but I don't want to
massive
have
leap.
someone at my house.
Right,
sorry.
right.
They have
So
a
that's what's
option.
cool about FaceTime
To
and Zoom.
That's a
Infinity and
massive
beyond.
leap.
You can
That is
actually
a huge
do that.
leap in the culture.
Yeah,
That's so
yeah.
great.
Well, and I think too, you know, it was like embarrassing to smoke back then. Now it's like you can come out and do it.
Right.
I still
right.
And
find
now it's
myself
like, I
in
know.
public.
So
you know,
that's
I'm
kind
not
of- Not me.
different. You know, I'm
The
still-
mint thing adds a little flavor to that,
I love
right? Because
that,
you don't
by the
smell
way.
like weed so
It's
much. It
great.
smells like mint more than it does weed many times.
Yeah.
And you can just stand there and grind one, and people are like,
Absolutely.
it's a hand roll, bro.
I mean, even
I love
in
it.
your
I'm
Don't worry
British,
about it.
I
you know?
fuck you, fuck off, I'm
Yeah,
smoking my
yeah.
herb.
I've
Roll
gotten
my
into my
own.
head, so whatever you don't fucking have no business asking me
Yeah.
about. So
Right,
keep
right.
rocking.
I don't
But-
get a lot of
but
people
to,
asking.
you know,
Yeah.
I really don't. People, I think
But it
people look
comes
at me and they're
from-
like, she's probably smoking weed, just based off of my.
Yeah, man.
She's probably,
I mean, I wear
Yeah,
weed,
man.
like weed branded clothing. Shout out to
I
Here
and
He
I,
Grows.
I
I've
and
got
I.
the hoodie on today.
I know, I'm
Yeah.
so weird if my shirt will say a bad word or something. I'm
Oh,
like,
I
no,
have
will
some that
not
say,
wear
like,
that.
Well,
don't
it's
be an
that parent
asshole.
thing, right?
Yeah,
so
I
you're a
will not
parent
wear
and you're like
that. I don't
going to,
want
you're
to
going to
look
your
that.
kid's sporting event and you're like, okay, I'm the guy who smells like weed
Oh, yeah.
at my kid's water polo
Right.
game, you
Guess
know?
who
Yes.
buys the edibles from me? It's the
Most
kids' parents on
Right,
the same
right.
team.
So
I was in
then-
college, they knew. I was like, just so you guys are aware, I run a dispensary. And some of them are like, oh, well, okay. The amount of
She sells to both sides
It's
of the
crazy.
court.
Right.
you would be very surprised
taking
at
it
No,
the
to
not at
amount.
all. I
Inflation.
totally get what you're saying.
So much, so everybody has been really cool since I've been so honest about it in my kids' communities. I still haven't gotten into it with the high school soccer team yet. We'll see how that goes. I just became team mom, so we'll see.
Right.
I don't think I'm gonna host a pasta night at my house.
No, we have to keep it
But
legal,
the edibles,
and that's what it's
the
about.
edibles
Is,
and the
you know,
vape and
That
the
is what I
oils
give
have changed the game for a
So
lot of people.
many people that
Right?
have kids at my elementary school, the junior high, that I meet on the sports teams. They're like, this is what helps me sleep.
Right.
And it's just, you
Right.
know, it's a normal soccer mom who
Right.
has a job at, you know, some of them are teachers and some of them, you know, are doctors and nurses. We have so many people in the medical community that rely on this to help them get to sleep after a 12-hour
Absolutely.
shift. This
yeah.
is huge
Well,
for them.
it's that stigma, right? It was
Yep.
that criminalized stigma that has gone away because prohibition's over,
Because
right?
we
So
feel
we're
bad
right
about doing
here.
something for ourselves.
Well, Nick's
not
right.
a
He's
kid,
buried
you know?
right. He's buried 10 minutes down the way. He's
Right.
the guy that signed that one.
No,
Yeah.
you started it all, right? And then we
Thanks,
all
bud.
lived in this war on drugs, right?
Thanks
We're
for
the veterans of the
representing-
war on drugs.
For
And it
representing
is,
for old
um,
Placentia.
you
man.
know,
It is,
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, guy.
Yeah.
Have another martini. Sit
Yeah.
down. Let me
no
tell you what's wrong with
dispensaries
America.
allowed in our town.
Yeah, yeah.
They've been very. We
But
Keep
I
how
on
many
the
tried.
liquor
government.
stores? But
Keep
how many
going.
liquor
Tons,
stores,
and they have
right?
no problem with it.
How
No
many
problem
liquor
with it.
stores, right.
And bars, no problem with it.
I personally,
I would like some
so,
leafy sushi.
so
How good
if
would
you
that be?
if you do a little homework,
Right?
you'll
The
find
wrap.
out
Right.
Circle
That's
K,
fucking
Circle K,
Thank
and
you.
7-Eleven
That's patent
have
pending.
applied for retail licenses. They are next on the spot here
Yes,
in
I
California.
did know about
Smart.
that.
Of course.
That's smart.
It
They
was
sell
approved,
beer, they sell
uh,
tobacco. Why
it was
would they?
approved
They sell the,
for-
which are
for
the
some
two
in
worst
Florida.
part of
Right.
issues.
And
As
they
long
don't
as
even
the
have
government's getting
recreational
paid.
lined
Right.
up. They got it approved now
Right.
so that when it goes into effect, they're like, here's our full
Yep.
line.
Yeah, they can just roll out that
right there
day.
in the
Yeah.
grocery store.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said,
Um,
I owned a brewery
but
at
I'm
one time,
yeah.
and we served alcohol. And I left the brewery partly because of the guilt I felt for watching people destroy their lives, consuming a product that I was providing them.
Yeah.
One of my very closest friends, and it broke my heart, literally died of alcoholism through liver, through drinking.
Cirrhosis.
Yeah.
And I mean, dude, we watched him die and no one did anything about it. And he was literally the #1 customer at our brewery. And everybody laughed at it until the day he died, you know? And I was like, this is fucked.
It's
Yeah.
horrible.
You
I've
know,
had a few friends die
I
from
think a lot
It's
of
one
people
thing that,
relate
hey,
to that.
And then
as
the
long as
drunk
someone can go
driving.
that, that too.
We've had fatalities where people have left the
Yes.
brewery and been
Unfortunately.
killed. you
I've
know?
known- I follow
Like,
people
I'm not
home.
Or
down
kill
with that.
somebody else.
I follow
Yeah.
people home
Yeah.
from when I notice. I've actually caught 3 drunk drivers leaving the
Yeah.
dispensary. I
She's
leave the
like
dispensary.
Captain Planet and
It's
shit.
ridiculous.
She's like Captain Planet.
Well, I told her about this last time. It actually scared me. I followed them all the way on the phone with the police the whole time, giving
Mhm.
full like the whole drive.
Right.
We
Yeah.
drove all the way
Not
into
driving
Whittier,
anymore.
Wow.
from
Yep.
Brea through
Yep.
La Habra into Whittier, and the police on the phone were like, you know what, you can just turn around and go home. And I was like, they're not gonna catch this guy, is what I said. I turned
Right.
around to go home. They turned around and started following me.
Huh.
That's never happened. That was a first.
Huh.
And then we were playing this where like I slowed down for them to
Right.
go past me, and they pulled like right here, and I was like, I'm gonna get shot today.
Right.
So I continued, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna drive, and I'm not gonna go to my house.
Your husband's in the car then?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He's
You're
in the
not
car with
alone.
me at this point. I've done
It's
this
like,
by
thank God,
myself
don't do
too,
that.
but usually he's with me, which is I'm grateful for
But
that.
it's scary.
But it's
the
alcohol.
you
But
know
I
what
was
mean?
so
Scary.
enraged because
Yeah.
I followed him all through the canyon. It was
Yeah.
all through the canyon. He crossed the lines in the damn canyon. You are literally in oncoming
Yeah,
traffic
yeah.
lane.
You're gonna
I
kill
watched
somebody.
someone coming up, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm about to watch a horrible accident. I
Right.
kind of slowed down so that I didn't get hit.
Right.
And I'm watching this happen. So I've called and I've watched them. And so as I'm driving, the cops that I had been calling, because I called La Habra, and La Habra police were waiting on the street.
Right.
And as I drive up on me, I roll my window and I'm like, that's the guy. And he's like, the gray car. And I was like, go. And they got him and took him. And I headed off and I went, on my way and went to my actual home. But I
It's
told him.
unfortunate. I commute to and from my studios and everything all around Orange County.
Right there.
It's a daily to see at least 4 to 5
Exactly,
truck
you know.
drivers.
Yeah.
It's
That's
Yeah.
why,
horrible.
I've
Right.
seen it at
Daily.
night.
Right.
I've
Daily.
actually I've lost friends over being
But
very
that's-
vocal about that.
Me
I
too,
tell
yeah.
people don't come to my house and party and leave drunk. I have a couch that pulls out into a
Yeah.
couch that
And
covers
now we
my
have
floor.
Uber, there's so
We
many
can
different
Uber.
options, but
I
that's
mean,
a huge
owning-
change for
owning
you
a
to
brewery
throw
was
that.
really
Really open your eye to
stressful.
that, yeah.
I went fist to fist with a Hell's Angel one night who was so fucked up he tried to get on his motorcycle and missed. Right?
Oh,
he
he
missed the bike.
died.
He's like,
And
huh?
he would have died. And I told him that. I go, dude, I'm
Dude.
gonna fight you. I go, you're either gonna give me your keys or I'm gonna fight you because you're gonna die tonight. And he was like, fuck you. And we went at it. And I took his
Alcohol's
keys and the
dangerous,
next day
yeah.
he came back and he was like, bro, thank you.
Yeah.
I was fucked because we
Fucked
served
up.
7% beer.
Yeah, you're serving high
Most
content,
people are
man.
drinking 5%, 4%
I drink
beers.
And
one.
they don't
I
realize
don't
how
drink
much of a
it.
difference that is
Yeah,
in
it's
beer.
a huge
In
difference.
I'm
beer,
not a
that's big
drinker. I
difference.
don't like to feel out of
Yeah,
control. I don't
yeah.
like
If-
hangovers.
Yep.
So I will go to the brewery. They always have to be the nice one.
Which is
I
great.
drink
It's
one.
a great place to
Canna
go.
beer.
Yeah,
One.
right,
That's it.
right.
That's it. All
But,
I need is one
you know
nice
what I
flavored
mean?
beer,
Like,
and
you-
that's it.
There's people out there that have no control.
Well, I
Yeah.
think with alcohol that differs from cannabis is there's kind of a tipping point where you've consumed so much alcohol that you're no longer able to decipher what it is you are or aren't going to do.
Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of a reaction to the poisons in your system.
Well, that's why it's like the call
I've
of
never
spirit,
gotten
right?
so
You're
high
possessed by
that
the
I
spirits
didn't
of
know what I
alcohol.
was going to do next.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
I'm like, all right, we're going to order a
Kinda
pizza.
tired.
But I was like, yeah, I'm in on
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? I'm not like, oh,
You're
fuck. I'm
conscious
so-
about your-
yeah,
your-
yeah.
your-
I've never
I'm
been so high.
Yeah.
You-
I
Yeah,
mean, I
sometimes
was
you're a little
wait,
overconscious about
Let me
it.
back up a second. I was really that high one time in Jamaica, but that was like a whole different kind of high. It was like
That's a
whole
different
shit
type of
high.
high.
Yeah.
I smoked this Jamaican lamb's bread that was so sticky that at that time my girlfriend stuck a butt of it to the wall of our boat, and it stayed on the wall for like a week.
Oh my gosh.
Like it was like tar, dude.
Oh
We rolled.
my gosh.
So I lived in Jamaica for a while, and I had a Jamaican girlfriend, and some of her greatest assets were that she could roll a joint with one hand,
Oh shit.
and she would roll them like
She's
a
like,
sushi.
hold on, baby.
Oh
Hold on,
yeah,
baby.
yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
one hand for me, one hand for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she would roll these like
Sometimes it was a
sushi
snack,
hand roll kind of
sometimes it was a
joints, you know.
background. That's
And you
cool.
would smoke them like cones, and by the end of them, there would be like goo on your
All over
lip.
you, yeah.
And you'd be like, oh
Yeah,
man, I'm
baby.
so high.
You're like,
you
give
know?
me a kiss,
Yeah,
baby,
yeah, yeah.
That's
So
I like
yeah,
how
I've
it
been
is
that
with-
high. I've been that
I like
high
how you
before.
get off the airplane and then right. You
Is
think
it
you
really?
People,
That's how
you
it
think
is?
People, oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Literally
yeah.
directly, you walk down the little staircase,
Yep.
go to the thing. People go like,
What about like the red light district, right?
that's
Like
nice.
I want to go there.
I
Oh,
wanna
I've
go
been,
there
all the way,
now.
I've been
That's
into
on
the
the
Blue
bucket
Mountains
list,
of
too.
Jamaica.
it's not as big.
Oh my
Where
gosh,
the
no?
coffee is grown, you
Okay.
know, and it just fields of
They go up the
ganja.
sides of like
Hillside,
hillsides, yeah.
yeah.
I would frolic in it like
So where do you
It's wild,
see,
a lot of it.
Yes.
where do
A lot of
you
wild
see
cannabis.
Like the sound of
the
music,
cannabis
you know?
industry in California going from here forward? Because it's like right now, I'll say sales are down,
Right.
business is down for whether you make the products or you are a grower. It's been harder for sales
Right.
because everything gets really flooded. So do you see this becoming where it finally becomes so normalized and everything's just going to drop and a lot of these $80 eighths are no longer going to be $80 eighths?
Well, yeah, and I think that comes with a bigger price that's not talked about, because I think what's going to happen is there's a few things that are currently happening that are going to kind of mold the future, right? And one of which is the taxation.
Yeah.
Right? There's heavy tax on cannabis, right? There's sales tax plus, an exit tax and a state tax and sometimes a city tax.
State taxes are ridiculous.
You know,
Is this where a
and
consumer comes in and says, "Fuck you, we're gonna grow our own"?
and that's where Spot
It says-
Farms is the saving,
Right.
So you get more weed for less money by
Exactly.
growing it and procuring it, right? But to answer your question, I think what you're going to see, and you're already starting to see, is large hedge funds are invested in this. Planet 13, right, out of Las Vegas. They're
Yes,
fueled by a
huge.
hedge fund, by the
Huge.
Vanguard Group. They're
Yep.
one of the largest hedge funds in the world.
I thought the whole thing
Okay.
was illegal. You couldn't put it in.
I have a Vanguard
So
account.
there
I
are
think
there are
I was about to say, I think
loopholes.
that
I have
Guggenheim is the Guggenheims are even invested
Yeah,
in it.
yeah. No, there's some big families involved in this, and
Because
they
everyone
are
saw the
doing it.
profit in cannabis.
Right.
That's why I have a problem with places like MedMen and things like
Yep,
that
yep.
they heavily
Penny
tax.
stocks.
We just
Absolutely.
we were just approved for the taxes in
Right.
unincorporated Los Angeles, and that was at 6%. But I want to see what the whole picture is at the very end. Show me the receipt,
Mhm.
and is it really a 6% taxes? I don't think
No.
that's what it's going to
No,
be.
it's not.
I'm waiting to see. We haven't even gotten. Nothing's really been said to us yet, so we're still waiting to find out. Okay, so here's what your plan's actually going to look
Right.
like, and this is what the tax is going to be.
I don't think they know.
We
They
we
don't-
won't know yet for a
Well,
little
I
bit.
think they're evolving it as they can get a grip on it, right? So there's these two worlds of cannabis in California. First of all, you have to say, like, trying to get Californians to not smoke weed is like telling the French it's never going to happen. This is
Exactly.
part of California culture. It is
Tolerate it. Or
yeah,
shut the
it is
fuck
what
up,
it
right?
is,
We're
and
just
that's
gonna
how
keep
it
doing
goes,
it.
right?
Yeah, we've done it all along.
So
Until-
what is being caused is these big hedge funds and companies like Monsanto are getting involved, and all this factory farming is driving this new consumer to the product, right? We're
Right.
looking at converting people who didn't smoke weed into weed smokers.
Right.
But,
now there's
but
more.
people
Now they
who
need to
do,
keep up.
right?
How do they
it's,
keep up?
Now you're Philip Morris,
Right.
right? You're packaging and selling
Now
it.
we're not going to care. We just want to get it to the consumers
Right.
as fast as we can. Can't catch me. I'm
You know
the
what's
fucking
interesting?
Gingerbread man. I get it, and this is
So
where consumers
if-
need to come back in
Yeah,
and say, "Kiss my ass. I'm going to grow my own."
right, right.
I mean, if I can grow my own coffee, I would. So I didn't have.
Yeah,
man.
Right.
I do my every morning.
If
I
I
have a
could-
pour over where I hand grind,
See.
I hand pour.
Right.
And that
I do
itself-
everything by hand.
I keep
Imagine
telling
if-
Nat brings me
yeah.
coffee from the coffee bean all the time, which they're good. But I'm like, look, dude, I
Oh,
like
really?
making my own at home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're
no,
right,
exactly.
And
So
it's
when
like-
you're in that
yeah.
mindset and you're looking for that organic lifestyle, why would you change that about cannabis?
Right.
Why wouldn't you include that as part of your diet?
Right.
Right? If you're
Right.
looking at it that way, it's
Put
a
the leaves in
social
your
diet.
salad, put it in your juice. I mean, I think there's so many ways to utilize the plant, every single part of it, and we're just going there to just have some herb thrown at us to get
My mom
high.
topped it
But there's
cornbread
so
one
many more,
time with
uses to it.
weed
So
leaves.
I love that. I think
I
I've done
Well,
that.
it's
before.
interesting,
I'm
right?
excited. I'm
She was like, "Can I
excited.
have some of your plant with this?" I
It's
was
so
like,
funny
"For
how
what?"
it's so funny how like we keep paralleling with alcohol, right? So the home brewer is okay,
Right.
right? So it was
Not the
it was
home
actually
brewer.
Jimmy Carter who decriminalized brewing beer, okay, in 1972, and he decriminalized it because of his brother Billy, who liked to brew his own beer, and Billy beer, right? So
right.
it's
Thank you,
okay.
Billy.
It's okay to brew at home a
Yes.
certain amount,
Oh, wait for a second.
right? You
Yeah.
can brew a certain amount.
Oh yeah.
You can distill at home a certain amount. You can distill alcohol at home a certain amount. But up until now, you couldn't grow a plant in your yard because it could potentially get you high.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like not even necessarily get you high, but potentially get you high.
Insane.
It might.
It is
no,
insane.
Makes no
smell
sense.
like
It's,
a northern
it's the
neighbor.
it's the terrible relationship America has with alcohol, that has caused a lot and fueled a lot of our discourse in
Absolutely.
our country and violence and who we personify ourselves
I agree.
as.
I agree.
Where it's just not true and it's bullshit. People don't want to live like that.
Yeah.
No one wants to live next door to Otis the drunk, whether
No.
it seems funny or not.
No, it's
It
not.
only lasts so long, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But
It's
your
only
stoner
entertaining
neighbors are
for
not coming
yourself.
over and like pounding on your door at 2 a.m,
No.
or
We're making cinnamon rolls.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
sorry, we're baking
so-
and, yeah. It's,
See, I grew up with parents that didn't drink until I was in high school, and then they
Mhm.
started to go out and do like country dancing and things like that, and kind of expanded more into drinking, which I hated to see for my dad. I liked it much better when he was when they were at home with me, but they were always very accepting of cannabis. My mom would tell me stories. And at one point, my dad asked me, I would rather buy it from you than buy it anywhere else because it's probably going to be better.
Right.
He was like I was like 16, and he was
Right.
buying weed off of me. And they've been supportive always.
Right, that's cool.
And I was sad once I saw them both start to drink more and more. And my dad would still smoke. My mom is still, anything I tell her about what I'm doing, she's like, she supports me. I tell her about the dispensary and the growing, and she just thinks it's all great. A lot of people have grown up with just seeing nothing but alcoholism, and I'm
Right.
grateful. I didn't
Right.
grow up seeing it, little touches of it once I got older and I could understand what was happening. But just, for it to be so normalized for
Yeah.
people to drink
Right.
as much as they
Right.
do, I've been so against it for so long.
Right.
My son
right.
went out to eat, and my friend ordered a beer, and it was with her dinner. It was mid-afternoon, no biggie, relax. It was all good, and my son's like, "Why did you just order a beer?" He never sees me drink, and he's so curious. She goes, "Well, sometimes it's nice to have with my meal, But he was just so questioning, and she did a great job. She always does of explaining why,
Right.
But it's just.
But it is a curious question.
It is.
Right?
So
And
Like-
I enjoy a nice beer.
Of course.
Everybody does. I think it's great. I just think everything in moderation.
Sure.
If I was
Sure.
smoking to the point where I wasn't going to work still 6 days a week,
Right.
showing up every Friday,
Right.
with our team here to make the show, we're all still doing that. When I get
Yes.
to a point that I stop doing that, then I'll say that I'm probably using too much cannabis.
And you have to have friends that are going to call you out and be like, "Get up, bitch! Let's work out. Let's do stuff."
She does
Get
this.
up. And so.
I also work until like 2 a.m. and
Yeah.
she's up at like 6, and I was like, I have no sleep at all.
No, I'm up at like 5.
At like 5.
I hear you.
was
I'm an
being
early
generous.
riser,
I
too.
love to get up, and I like to watch the sunrise, and I like to hear the birds, and I'm like drinking my coffee, and it's a great fucking day. And
Yep.
it's just,
Me too.
I don't know.
Coffee and weed in the morning, and
The
I'm
night
good.
schedule
Yeah,
is
that's
not
every
okay
morning.
with me. I can't. I like to go to bed semi-early, 10, 11, because sleep is honestly the best medicine.
True.
Besides cannabis, you need sleep, right?
Mhm.
You have to have.
That's
that
where I was
good-
last night.
yeah.
I came home and just laid down, and that was the end of it.
I don't nap. I can't nap. I don't know if you're a nap.
I said I was gonna nap.
There's no point in
I
being
said I was
up after
napping.
it gets dark.
I was like, I'm gonna
Like,
take a
I'd
nap.
rather just go to bed
Yeah,
at one point.
I was
you know?
It was
I
like
can't nap during
6:30,
the
and I
day.
was
Yeah.
like, hey guys, I'm just gonna take a short nap because I worked late. I worked like a 10+ hour shift, and then I
Mhm.
opened in the morning, and I was exhausted. And I was like, I'm just gonna take a short nap, and then I have all these things I'm gonna do, and I woke up
I'm
and it was like
out.
5:30 in the morning.
You're like,
and I was
ah.
like, oh, all right.
But it felt
That's
good.
how it
It
is.
did.
And I think, get some good sleep, drink a lot of water, take care of yourselves. We only have like a little bit of, time here on this
Yep.
beautiful earth. So, yeah.
Grow your own weed.
Grow your own weed and
Grow your own weed and
fuck big pharma and
Yep,
everybody else
yep.
in between, whatever I'm trying to say.
But yep.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
I
you for
really
having me.
appreciate
Yeah,
you
no,
coming
I'm
on the
stoked.
show.
Yeah.
I
I'm
love
glad to
this
come
was
back.
a really great episode.
Yeah.
Would love to have you back on the show,
Sure.
see how the business is developing, anything new that you're up to.
Okay.
We'll definitely have links. Do you have have you started your other social media pages?
So we are strictly Yelp driven.
Strictly Yelp.
We got the
Okay.
approval from Yelp, and we're going to run with it.
Okay,
Because
awesome.
no one else has it. You know what I mean?
No, that's
Anybody can
amazing.
put up a Facebook page, but you
Your
can't get on Yelp.
customers are going to share. If they love
Yep.
you anyways, they're going to take that screenshot. Hey,
That's right.
We
take
have-
a screenshot for Yelp.
We have
go
a
follow
Yelp for
Okay,
Greenland
cool.
as well. So
Right,
yeah.
because you're medical.
Yes.
Right.
So
yeah,
I do.
and Mad Love to you again for doing this.
Yeah, no, please check us
showing
out.
up
Leave a
and-
review.
Yes.
I'm happy to come back. We could do like an infusion,
I would
live
love that.
infusions,
Yes,
or
please.
we could do some blended rolls.
Yeah.
I'll make
Wow.
sure that
all
I
sorts
have
of stuff. You know?
information
I love
linked in,
tea, and I have a tower garden.
I'm telling you, put your mint in there.
I have a tower garden
Grow
that
your
has
mint.
like the way that you can
Yep.
put like the compost inside and like fill
Yep,
it with
start
dirt. I want to
growing mint.
restart
First
it
time I've
over.
ever smoked mint.
Yep.
But it won't be my last. I
Thank
promise
you.
you that.
Right on.
Thank you. That was
Don't
a
be
nice
mad.
introduction to that.
Super awesome.
Cool.
Thank
Glad.
you so much for the experiences of everything.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining us today. And Amber, do you want to say anything else, or
That's about it. I don't know. Yeah, you can't put
we
me on
will
the spot like
see
that,
you guys.
Megan. Damn it.
She
See?
hates it
Yeah,
when I do
spot.
that. Forever
The
putting you
spot.
on the
See?
spot.
The Spot Farms.
The spot.
Spot Farms.
I was
So
not paid to
Spot
do
Farms,
that.
we will have more information, so you guys can check out his expanding business. If you are in the Malibu, Huntington
we
Beach,
do from Malibu
Costa Mesa.
Newport.
Okay,
Right.
so there we go.
Pretty much anywhere.
If anyone is interested, we'll have links so you guys can reach out and get consultations. And thank you once again. We'll
Right.
see
Do
you
it
next
yourself.
time.
All right.
Cool. That was fun. Thank you.
Thanks.
Sol, you want to take us out on video too?
Hey,